Congratulations on the book.
Hey, are those people social distancing?
I'll handle the humor, young man. Great
I'm not
book.
so young.
Well, great book. It's kind of the stuff that you've told us regarding what's going on in California, except you pretty much applied it to the whole world.
Well, certainly in all the major countries. Of course, what's really tragic out of this whole crisis, when we really think of in historical terms, what it's going to do to the upward mobility of developing countries. I mean, the real big losers are going to be places like, South Africa, Brazil. But basically, we are really creating a situation where the great progress that we made in under liberal capitalism, the tremendous progress on a global level is coming to an end. And we are now seeing classes form very tightly. And we're also seeing the growth of sort of ideologies that become religions. And, obviously we can see that every day, at least every night, if you can stand watching the news.
To put it in real simplistic terms that I can grasp, Joel, what you're saying is because of the taxing and the spending and the regulation and the pursuit of things like climate change, middle class and poor people are going to suffer.
That is the absolute truth. Mm-hmm. Even magnify it even further in developing countries where electricity is still very difficult to get. But without nuclear power, without natural gas, it's going to be very expensive. We'll look at what's happened to housing prices. You can't even build new suburban developments in California anymore, which was the way that the middle and working classes moved up and could buy a house and enter the middle class. We have a shrinking middle class. California, I guess, from a certain point of view, is a great laboratory to see what is going to happen to the rest of the country and the rest of the world. And we're particularly hit because we are the center of the tech oligarchy, which is the one of the big winners in this new class arrangement.
My guest is Joel Kotkin, Kotkin. The book is called The Coming of Neo-Feudalism, A Warning to the Global Middle Class. Joel, when you look at these people right now protesting because of what happened to George Floyd, and I'm looking at some of the demands that they're making, which have nothing whatever to do with police practices, $15 minimum wage. I'm hearing a national rent control. Do you think that part of why so many people are upset is because of the stagnation that you're talking about? And if they were more prosperous, they might not be in the streets yelling and screaming about how bad America is?
You read an article that hasn't even been published yet. I mean, basically, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that we now have in our in minority communities, in working class communities, and among the young. I mean, the great difference between this and 1992, which Larry, we both experienced, is that now you also have this large group of millennials who have been indoctrinated in a certain kind of postmodernist ideology, and also, frankly, for themselves, they have no upward mobility. How many of these 25-year-olds who are out there in the street are ever going to start a business or buy a house? And so what you've got is this sort of end of the idea of aspiration, the idea that if you work hard in a capitalist system, you'll do well. And we've shut that off for a whole generation. I did a piece for the Daily Beast about this, and in the book I write about it, about all over the world, the young people under 30, their home ownership, their starting businesses rate way below previous generations.
Joel, one of the reasons that you and that I became so fascinated by your work is because you did not come from it from the perspective of a conservative Republican. You were not a conservative Republican. In fact, you voted for Jerry Brown the first time he ran and was governor of California. And so for you to have these views shows me that you are simply following the facts. You're looking at what's going on here because ideologically you'd rather not believe this, but the facts are taking you here.
That's exactly correct. And I think that also, I thought Barry Weiss today made a very good comment out of the New York Times where she said there's now this real gap now between old-fashioned liberals like me who, I believe in a certain amount of social democracy. I believe in there being
45 seconds, Joe.
Right. In other words, believe in upward mobility. That's gone and been replaced by a much more authoritarian group of leftists who want to restrict free speech and want to basically, tell people how to live their lives.